Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how are you, friend?
I'm doing very well. How are you, sir?
I'm really good, man. Thank you so much for asking. This was just a weekend where, we were going to see Tully, but, we both got busy. But this was just a weekend where it's like, all right, so how much is Avengers going to make, that second weekend? It's like, none of these movies, like, I love Charlize Theron, but Tully coming out this week. I'm like, so nothing's being Avengers until Deadpool comes out. And, in what I think it's 10 days in the theaters, it has already Avengers Infinity War has made $1 billion already. So
wow.
Disney is just laughing their asses off. They're so happy.
That's insane.
So it's gonna pass back $112.5 million the second weekend, which is insane. That's still over 100 mil.
Oh my gosh.
So, fun fact, because it just makes me laugh, Avengers Infinity War has already made more in 2 weeks domestically than Justice League did in its entire run.
Oh man, you would bring that up.
Oh dude, I have to, because
gosh, DC fans love you.
I know. Hey, make better movies, but oh man, I laughed so hard at that. It's like
I actually saw that stat and I was like, oh man, I bet Hunter's gonna bring this up, or he's just eating it up and loving it, or probably both.
Yeah, exactly, probably both. So you're welcome. But we're talking about a movie we were going to review like a month ago, and we just all got so slammed. But we're talking about Isle of Dogs from this new up-and-coming director, Wes Anderson, who's done...
Yeah, I think he's got a real future ahead of him.
Yeah, right? He's done a couple movies that me and you both love, like Fantastic Mr. Fox,
yeah,
Life Aquatic.
Love it.
Grand Budapest, I think, was your favorite movie was 2016 when it came out, I want to say?
I love Grand Budapest. Yeah, one of my favorite movies, probably of all time.
Yeah, it's a great movie. So I will say this one, this is a very weird movie, and I'll be honest, I might have been too high going in.
Well, you know what? That makes sense because it's very heavily Japanese influenced, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's almost like it's not quite an anime, but it's like it's a few characteristics away from being one.
It's like it weighs heavy in the Japanese culture for sure. So tell me about your experience in going and seeing this. This sounds interesting to me.
Yeah. Me and Alea, humble brag, we went to go.
Oh,
see
you
this.
mean your girlfriend?
Exactly, my girlfriend. We went to go see this at 10 o'clock, right? And
yeah.
And we almost went and saw Infinity War again, but I emotionally just can't handle the ending of that movie right now. But so we go to the theater. We see it starts at 10:10. I want to say
a.m. Right?
Yeah,
this morning.
a.m. Correct. There was not another fucking soul in that theater. We were the only ones there. I know this has been out for 3 weeks, but I was expecting at least one other person there, but no one else. I was like, okay, so, what are you gonna do? But, just having a movie about talking dogs, and there's so much of the dialogue that's not given to you in English. They just say it in Japanese, so it's kind of up to you to connect the dots. And I kind of went, well, all right, I don't love that, and I think I would be less upset if at times in the movie they would show the Japanese characters and then have the English there in parentheses. I'm like, you couldn't do fucking subtitles for the Japanese that they're speaking. That just
can I interject?
Oh, please,
there, if I may. So what I thought and this is my interpretation of why they were doing that. I thought it was cool because the whole idea was we're gonna make the dogs they're all speaking English that we can understand, and then their masters, like, we'll just put them in Japan, and you can't understand them, just like, you know, like a dog doesn't understand a human, right? So the dog's trying to, like, understand what the human's talking about, and they're just picking up on subtle cues. That's why I thought it was at least a little bit interesting that they chose not to do the subtitles. What do you think about that?
Wow, I gotta admit that just made me kind of take a step back and go, wow, that actually makes a lot of fucking sense, and I'm very impressed with you right now. like, goddamn, that's why. Fuck. Okay, that kind of actually makes me bump my grade a little bit.
So that's what I was thinking, at least when I was watching it. That's what I thought it was. And okay, so to get off that point though. What did you think about the cast of this? Before we get into the plot, we'll get into the plot, but like, man, this cast, how about all these voice actors, right?
So the cast of dogs was just kind of insane, the amount of people they had. They got Scarlett Johansson, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton, Jeff fucking Goldblum. I was like, wow. Liev Schreiber, Frances McDormand, fresh off an Oscar, Courtney B. Vance. It's a lot of people.
It's crazy.
And what I will say too is I was happy that they actually gave, you know, Japanese actors in there and actresses in there. You know, like they didn't do the whole like, we'll have someone American try to do a Japanese accent. Like they actually had Japanese, you know, actors and actresses in the movie in prominent roles, which I thought, okay, that's good. You know, don't want to Doctor Strange to people, but ancient one joke. But anyway,
love it. I love it, dude. I'm so about the Avengers right now. I can't even talk to you. Like, we can't even go on that tangent right now.
Yeah, no, we'll go off on that at the end. But so I will, to be honest. I think Alea kind of put it perfectly when she said it took a little while to get going, but I really enjoyed it at about the 45-minute mark. Because that's about what it took for me. It was like the first half of the movie, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of setting up a lot of stuff and kind of catching you up on where the world is right now.
For sure.
And then the last 45 minutes is the execution of what's set up. And I think once it executes, it kind of reminds me of a animated version of The Post. Okay,
for sure. Yeah, I see that.
Like, just in the way that it really does set a lot up. And I was kind of like, all right, movie, come on.
Well, because, like, the ending references back to the beginning.
Exactly, yeah. So when it wrapped up, I went, oh, okay, that's a callback to, all right, fair enough. So I really enjoyed the journey of it, but I would tell people, I found that Fantastic Mr. Fox was a little quicker for me.
Yeah.
And I was really engaged within like the first 10 minutes. This
sure.
took a little while, but I think that people are still going to enjoy this. So, yeah, kind of your thoughts on that.
What I have to say, the stop motion animation in this movie is
so good.
Beautiful.
So good.
I mean, it's gorgeous. And like that's one of the main things. It starts out, and you know what I thought was interesting? It starts out and it says prologue, right? Doesn't it say prologue and it starts? Yeah. Which like a prologue is like the end of a story. So it was interesting that they started out with a prologue and then they talked about like how the kid like chopped off the head of the the main villain, and like all was restored, like order was restored to the land or whatever. And then like at the end that was like essentially metaphorically what happened. And I was like, that was kind of cool. But I like that they like Wes Anderson is so weird and quirky, and he breaks up his acts into like this movie had 4. Like he had 4 acts where he actually like he narrates it like he's like, okay, this is the start of a new chapter. Like here's chapter 1. And then like it's the little pilot, and the little pilot crashes onto the dog island, and everyone wants to know what's the meaning of this, little pilot. And then the next one is like the journey forward. And I don't know, there's something about the style that he does that like really just like gets me and like makes me feel like I'm not just watching a movie. I feel like I'm like reading a book or something. You know what I mean? Like it's so the attention to detail and all the little things, and the stop motion, man. Like they're constantly sneezing because they have the dog flu, which is hilarious.
Oh my god, it's sad, but it's like the cutest.
It's
thing.
It's so adorable, and like honestly, every time they sneeze, it's so natural. You like notice it, but it's also like a throwaway thing because it's never like the person that's talking. It's like someone in the background will sneeze, but it's constantly through that the whole thing. Like the attention to detail to do that through the whole thing, and it seems so real. Like the stop motion is so good when they do it. And I'm like, oh, they all have the dog flu. Like, it just keeps reminding you. I was like, man, that's, like, brilliant filmmaking right there. I mean, like, that type of stuff that just really impresses me. What do you think about that stuff?
So I will say that the animation on this is just, it's top notch. It reminded me so much of Kubo and the Two Strings. Just
sure. Such a good movie.
Yeah, where I just sat back and I just marvel at just the animation. It was like, oh my god, even if this movie was good already, this animation just elevates it. It's the way the dogs move. I guess the main dog, when he's talking to the boy, there's a point
Chief.
where he goes, thank you, yeah.
Yeah. Voiced by Bryan Cranston, who does a great job.
He really does, where he goes, the boy goes, fetch. He's like, I don't fetch. And he's like, I don't fetch. And like they keep cutting back and forth between the two of them. And then he goes, well, all right, I'm gonna fetch this, but not because you want me to. It's because I have the ability to make decisions for myself, or something to that effect. And it's just run across, and I just went, wow, the animation, just the way the sky even moves. There's a point where sorry, what's Bryan Cranston's character? The dog.
Chief.
Chief.
Yeah, he's like colored black. He has like black fur at the start, and then he gets a shampoo, and then all of a sudden he's like white, like the same as Spot.
yeah. So the astronaut, the boy, Spot, and Chief end up falling like into the water, and just the way the water moves with the animation, I went, oh my god, that's so fucking beautiful. They really nailed the style of this, and I think even if the movie wasn't good plot-wise, the animation would have kept me engaged, because I was just sitting there looking at it going, oh my gosh, like every time like a cloud comes by, they show this owl a couple times, I went, oh my god, this just all looks so, so beautiful. But so yeah, dude, you want to kind of get into the plot of this? Because I will say, and this is why I say I might have been too high, because as the plot kind of got deeper in, I was like, all right, okay, that's from that, okay, and that's from that, okay, I think I'm caught up movie, but it got a little tangled for me, I will say.
Yeah, so I'll kind of delve into it as simply as I can, with like trying to include as much of the detail as that I can, if that makes sense.
We have Gaul and spoilers, by the way. Spoilers,
yeah, so this is taking place in the fictional city of Megasaki, which is basically like Nagasaki, Japan, but it's Megasaki. And basically what's happened is that there's this new dog flu and snout fever that has overran the dog population. And the mayor of Megasaki, Kobayashi, he wants to banish all the dogs to Trash Island, which eventually becomes the Isle of Dogs. His son, on the other hand, is very much opposed to this motion, and his dog ends up, you come to find out, is the first dog banished over to the island. But the real plot of the movie is on Dog Island, so that's like the background. And then once you get to the Isle of Dogs, you find the little pilot, which is the name of the first chapter, and that's the son of Kobayashi, whose dog was the first dog to be banished to the Isle of Dogs. He comes looking for his lost dog, and when he crashes on the island, 5 dogs then come and try to assist him in making his way. And this is where, like, I go back to, like, the first point where I thought it was cool that they didn't have a lot of subtitles, was that just like if this movie was a dog was washed up on an island and there was 5 humans being like, oh, this dog came here for some reason, we can't understand the dog, he just keeps barking, like, but maybe like we can pick up on clues of what he wants. Like, we'll help him figure out what he wants. Instead, this was like 5 dogs on an island all speaking English, and then there was one kid that spoke Japan, and no one understood him, even the audience. I thought that was brilliant.
No, Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
So I just want to say, I don't know who voices the kid, and it's weird. IMDb's like showing who's in the cast, but not giving me like the cast list. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it says his name is Koyu Rankin, and he's basically just only done Japanese stuff before.
I thought he was awesome in this.
Yeah.
I thought he did such a good job because, I think a lot of people will come up saying, "Oh, Cranston," and of course we love Bryan Cranston, but it takes 2 to tango in this case, and he brought so much to the role of that kid who just is confused at first, but then you feel like him really getting upset about how these dogs are being treated, and and you can definitely draw parallels to to times that we've told people, hey, go over here, or
this has like so many political
it does.
Parallels too, like especially with like governments that have overthrown like the authority like throughout the history of like America, like the big one that happened in like I don't know where it was. I probably should know. It's like Turkey or something.
Wakanda. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Wakanda. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. But do you know what I mean? Didn't you sense that there was like a lot of political parallels, even if it wasn't like matched up to an exact event? It's like this is like a lot of parallels to real life.
Oh, dude, you could connect this just as simply to like urban cities and how people like races are segregated. I mean, you can make that connection really easily.
Yeah. It's a very common like set of circumstances where like there's like a group of people that feel oppressed, or like there's a political power, someone in charge that's instilling their will unethically, and people are fighting for justice. Like that's something you can always get behind, right?
Oh, absolutely. And what I found awesome about the movie is it never felt preachy. You know what I mean?
No, because it was all made up. It was made up enough that it was like you could draw parallels, but you could never like attribute it to one actual cause.
Well said. Yeah, you're on fire tonight. No, that's
does that make sense? Was that?
No, that totally does, and that's that's spot on. That's why I'm saying you're on fire tonight, because the movie really it's there to say, hey, we're here to entertain you. Here's this great story about adorable dogs. Or if you want to dig deeper, and write an essay on this, which you could write an essay on this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's Wes Anderson right there. Wes Anderson always has like all these hidden meanings that like he won't say, but he's just like, yeah, you go ahead and argue it in groups.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you wanted to go ahead and break this down, and the movie's only, 95 minutes, I'll say?
Yeah, I think it was like an hour 45 I saw, yeah.
Yeah.
So a little more, yeah, like 100 something like that.
Yeah, this was shorter than I Am Pretty, and and I wanted more of this, unlike I Feel Pretty. But
nice.
but this movie does a really great job of just really establishing, the characters. I thought, I think what I found really kind of disturbing, but in a funny way, is the mayor of the town,
Kobayashi. Yeah,
dude, he just goes fucking he basically turns into
he's awful.
He's terrible.
He's such an evil person. And then his henchman, the fucking lurch looking motherfucker next to him, right? The whole time.
He looked like an evil butler. That's all I kept thinking. But
well, that's why I called him Lurch, because he was the butler from
the
Munsters, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. God, I'm not that old, Colin. I don't get that reference, but that's actually really good. Well done. But God, on fire again, Colin. Sorry, go ahead.
So to get back to the plot, there's also this other storyline that's going on at the same time, where there's this exchange student who's like a female with this blonde afro, and
which was awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. And she's from America, so she's the only American character in the whole story. and she's like there as an exchange student, and she's like helping fight this cause because it turns out she actually has like a crush on the boy that went to like fight for his dog because she's so passionate about dogs too. I thought that was kind of a sweet like young kid like romance type of like storyline going on. You know what I mean?
No, I did too.
Like very innocent, just like two kids fighting for what's right and having admiration for one another type of thing. It's cool.
No, I thought that was actually really sweet because so honestly, it feels like I've seen stuff so recently where kids are just shitty to each other. It's nice that they showed a trailer for this movie called Eighth Grade that we'll have to talk about at some point. But it was just nice to see kids not at each other's throats. Like, oh hey, you seem cool. Oh, you seem cool too, and like, coming together for a common cause.
And one of the kids. One of like the Japanese kids that's in the class with the girl from Ohio, who voices her? It's someone. I thought we knew. Anyway, whatever it is, it's it's Greta Gerwig, I think.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, I think you're right actually.
Who is she's from like Lady Bird. She's a character in Lady Bird. Anyway, sorry, that got off topic. But
you're all good.
I thought that whole storyline was cool, like how she was like fighting like for justice, like it kind of became like this political thriller where she was like uncovering all the truths about the matter that Kobayashi had been covering up. That there actually was a serum to solve the dog flu, and he poisoned the scientist that got it, and she was the one that uncovered it in a bar with like the assistant of the guy that was poisoned. She's like shaking her, and she's like like get a hold of yourself, like, and she gets the serum and she uncovers the conspiracy. I was like, that was so like, you didn't even have to go that far in this plot to make it that deep, but like I love that he just like made it this political thriller on the side. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
No, I got a lot of humor out of that. I mean, and it's really cool to see, something portrayed in a movie that's happening in the White House right now. I mean, you can make a little sub, little sub outs, sub and serum for porn star, and you pretty much have the same thing that's happening right now. But
connect your own dots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not talking about anything in particular, but I do agree with you though. I was actually kind of surprised, not pleasantly so, because you see something like Fantastic Mr. Fox, and you see that's animation, you kind of go, oh, it's going to be maybe dumbed down a little bit, but then you remember, oh yeah, it's Wes Anderson, and he just doesn't do that. And so I think the plot line went way deeper than I actually thought it was going to. I think you hit the nail on the head there, but I appreciated that it went that deep. And honestly, when you find out like just how they were covering up the serums and everything, and how it's very Vietnam War-esque. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's like when you compared it to The Post, I was like, I think that's like a very like reasonable comparison. Like The Post is very similar to this. It takes a while to get going, and then like you see all of the corruption and the conspiracy and everything that's being uncovered at the end, and I'm like, oh, this is actually a pretty great story.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, and I really enjoyed the way it ended too. That was something I was like, okay, that makes me, I'm very satisfied with this. I also thought that the interplay between all the dogs on the island, on a trash island, which is so goddamn funny. There's one of the opening scenes is this pack of the main characters going against these kind of generic dogs, and a bag just randomly drops down. It's like, okay, well, we've got like orange slices, like old roast beef with maggots in it. Like, before we fight each other, let's see if this is worth it. It's like, it's worth it. And then you see like the old school like cartoon dust cloud. We're all fighting each other, which just makes me laugh because I'm a sucker for some of that old stuff. But
I agree. I like that too.
Yeah, so I mean that stuff just made me laugh. kind of getting to my final thoughts here. I think I need to see this again. Honestly, I really enjoyed it once it got going. Um, I don't know if this will enter Fantastic Mr. Fox territory for me because I fucking love that movie. But this is just such a it's Wes Anderson again hitting, which he just seems to not really be able to miss. Um, I don't say this often, but I reserve the right to change my grade on this. I'm gonna give it a B plus, um, just because I think I need to see it again at home to see if it's gonna enter A territory for me. So I'm gonna give it a B plus right now.
I think that's fair, and I think that's very reasonable that like you reserve the right to raise it later. I think that's fair. I I I will say that I really really like this. Um, but when you have a director like Wes Anderson, like when a movie comes out, you just like compare it to everything else he's done.
Yeah.
Um, and I really like this, but it's not as good as Grand Budapest Hotel in my opinion because Grand Budapest Hotel is like one of my favorite movies of all time. But it's like up there with like pretty much everything else. It's better than Moonlight Kingdom, I think. And it's just different than everything else. It's like the fact that it's got this gorgeous animation. Like just sitting there watching it, like honestly, is just a treat. Like to see how much effort they put in. Like when it really like the movie starts. Do you remember like the like when they had the drummers started to play the intro, like the drum beat?
Oh, I love that stuff.
Oh, and like the animation is so good. Like they're on beat the whole time, and I'm like, man, they must have put so much effort in to make all these guys like hit to the beat at the same time so fluidly. And I mean the drum like whole routine is awesome. Anyway, I thought it was a great movie. It's not the best thing he's ever done. It is at a point where it may break the top 10 for me this year. I think.
Okay.
But at the same time, I can't give it more than an A. I think it's a solid A, but like, I agree. At times, I was feeling like it needed to get itself going a little bit more. So I would give it a solid A. But I loved what Wes Anderson does here, and honestly, like everything he does is still like so much better than so many other directors whenever they try and do anything. So
that's true.
He's his own worst, like, he set the bar for himself. So he's only being measured against himself at this point, in my opinion.
No, I think that's totally fair. Yeah, so I felt like I was sitting here. I'm like, I think Colin's gonna go A. I don't think he's gonna go Fan-fucking-tastic. And now
it was close, but no, yeah, like you said, no.
I mean, do you think this will be something that, like, when we do our best of list, that you might rewatch and go, like, maybe it's an A plus, or are you feeling pretty confident in your A?
No, I might rewatch it. No, so that's the thing about Wes Anderson movies is that he puts so much effort into like the story that I do think, like just like you said, you would raise your grade. I may raise my grade too. Like I may watch it again at home already knowing like how the story basically plays out and then just looking for like little things to fill in the story that I originally saw, and I'll probably pick up so much more.
That's fair. Right.
And I think it could totally get better. Yeah, totally could.
Okay, fair enough. Guys, let us know what you thought of the Grand Budapest. We should review that though. Let us know what you thought of Isle of Dogs. Follow us here on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Podbean, and Google Music at The Real Pineapple. You can follow our buddy Scott. Scott, good luck on finals, buddy. We miss you at near
Love you,
first.
Scott.
Yeah, love you, buddy. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple, and you can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm actually out of town this weekend, so we won't have anything until the 18th that weekend. But hey, we'll have a review up for Deadpool 2 that weekend. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.